We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies. Welcome back to Deal Junkies. I'm Gabe Johansson in the studio today with Trevor GPT, Dane McKinney, and we have a special guest today, Brandon Eastman. Welcome to the show, Brandon.
Hey, thanks, Gabe. I appreciate it. I'm super excited to be here.
I bet you are.
I am. I've already listened to 17 episodes.
So you're a new Deal Junkies fan.
Yeah, I am. I'm making my way through the whole process.
Since Mike's not here, is he your least favorite host?
He's my least favorite in general.
Sorry, Mike.
But
Mike,
again, only because he's not here.
That's because we were sitting at sushi, and then we were pointing out Bentleys, and then he made some comment about Bentleys, and then Mike, he owns Bentleys.
He did.
He had no idea.
He's like, they don't let my dog come in here or something. Or he said something.
They got a picture of a dog on there, and they don't let my dog come in. Mike's got like an 180-pound dog. Dog weighs more than me. Yeah. And so I can see why you don't.
You don't let dogs drink coffee, Brandon?
They can drink whatever they want.
All right. Brandon is the owner of Bentley's Coffee. He's got a wonderful story to tell us. He's definitely the guy in the room with the most money because he taught me how to play poker. And last time we played, I left with a small fortune. Unfortunately, I came with a large fortune. So I think I'm learning, right?
You are learning exactly the way I want you to learn.
Through pain.
Through pain.
Because that's the only way people learn.
That's the only way.
Pain.
That's right.
All right. Brandon's a cool guy, big part of our community, does a great job and a good businessman. We want to dig into your brain a little bit. We want to find out what makes you tick, how you got to where you are. You're a super successful guy. You're a super cool guy. I can tell a story of my daughter was opening up a salon in downtown Salem. This is several years ago now. And we were like having a hard time moving some furniture down this little flight of stairs trying to get in the basement of the Reed. And Brandon's walking by and he's like, "Hey, Gabe, what's up?" And I was like, "Oh, man, we're just moving all this crap." He's like, "Oh, here, help me." He just stopped what he was doing in the middle of his day and just helped us move all the stuff out of the truck into the basement. And Brandon and I, honestly, today we know each other, I think, a lot better than we did back then.
Yeah.
But we've always been around each other. We've bumped into each other downtown and stuff. But that's just the kind of guy Brandon is. So I appreciate you being on the show. We'd love to hear more. So let's Trevor's just going to want to jump right into money.
No. I want to say how we met Brandon.
You want to know how you met Brandon?
Well, how I met Brandon.
Oh,
so my
us.
first thoughts on Brandon. Let's talk about these.
Let's hear it.
Here we go.
The first time we met Brandon, he came to SRE. I didn't know who Brandon was, and he just walked in the door, and I'm talking to everyone. I'm like, "Hey, like, do you invest in or do you do stuff?" Or he's like, "Yeah, I do stuff." And then he just like, and he just walked in and sat down. And then the first time he came, we were doing this whole exercise thing where we were trying to like do creative deal structures and think through all
our mastermind?
Yeah. Think through creative deal structures. It goes to his table. He gets the mic of like, "How would you do this deal?" He's like, the whole goal is to get people to do it creatively. I would just pay cash and pay 50 cents.
Yeah. I do half price, all cash.
Like, all right, sweet.
Yeah, we're not used to being around people who actually have money to buy real estate, so this is a special episode for us. We got to learn how you think because we're thinking about how to buy the deal with no money. Okay, so let's go back a little ways. Were you always entrepreneurial from a young age? I mean, you got brothers that are super successful. Like, is this in your blood, your DNA? Was your dad a business guy? Like, go back in time a little bit and tell us how this all began.
Yeah, so my dad has been self-employed pretty much his whole life, and growing up, seeing all of the challenges that he had were extremely interesting to me, right? Like, I was the kid that instead of when dinner was over, go play, I would sit at the table and continue to listen to my parents talk about business and money and how things were going. So I just was always extremely interested in how it all worked from a young age.
Okay. How young?
I'd say probably 6 or 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like I just loved to hear about it.
All right.
What businesses was he running at the time, or were your parents running at the time?
So my dad started a dirt contracting company, excavation company, and he did that in Southern California. And then when we moved to Oregon, he started buying and selling dump trucks, tractors, things like that. So he got a little bit more into the resale business rather than the actual excavation business, and he liked that a lot better. Yeah, well, you can sell, 1 million trucks, but it's hard to move 1 million yards of dirt.
Yeah.
So he could scale. He could scale it. He can make more money and do a little less sweating.
less sweating. Yeah.
No
exactly.
employees in that one when he was doing the resale. Was that just him like finding deals? And
Pretty much. Yeah. He's always been a little bit of a lone wolf, if you will.
So
he doesn't like anyone else telling him what to do. So he wants to do everything himself. So I got a little bit of that in me. Yeah. No, it definitely rubbed off.
Yeah.
So was mom helping him with the business?
Yeah, she's always been on the back end, always doing books and just taking care of things, making sure that everything's on track. But.
So mom and dad are trying to solve a few problems, which you always have in business, and you're sitting at the table and you're like, I don't want to go play video games. I want to sit here and learn how to solve business
They
problems.
probably didn't
100%.
have video games at that age, right?
Yeah,
Back
he's
then?
not that
they
old.
were wooden toys. Yeah.
His Lincoln Logs. Trevor likes to make old guy jokes. Brandon's not that old, Trevor. He's
Not
not
as
that
old
much.
as you, but
That's true.
pretty old
I never
still.
will be either.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about your journey. Did you start doing anything entrepreneurial when you were a kid? Were you trying to figure out how to make money? What were you interested? What was most interesting to you about those conversations? The problem solving, or were you like, I want to go buy some stuff and I need money for that?
Yeah, I think the problem solving was definitely the most impactful. The first thing I remember doing as a kid was washing cars. And, in our house, you had to work hard. You had to earn everything, whether it was a video game or, allowance. There was no free ride, so you had to earn everything. So at a super young age, I was always having to help my dad maybe wash up rigs or, take care of the yard or do whatever it might be. But the first thing I remember doing, I guess business-wise, was going around the neighborhood and washing cars. And my first thought was, I want to do a really, really good job for them, and I want to get repeat business. So I went out and I washed everybody's car for free. I didn't charge them at all, and I just said, hey, I just want you to make sure that, when you do want to get your car washed next time, you give me a call. So I spent the whole day washing the whole neighborhood's cars, and nobody ever called me. So the ROI was not very good on that deal. But that's always been my philosophy is give more than you get.
Add value.
Yeah, and you'll get it back in return.
Job washing their cars. I feel like
I don't know, dude. I was probably like 11 or 12. I don't even know how
I
old
was
I
going
was.
to say I thought you just got a bunch of business after that. That's
No.
like a genius
Yeah.
idea.
No, it was.
I
Yeah,
liked it a lot.
didn't work
Okay.
out.
So was that when you were still? When did you move from California to? Because you guys were in Grants Pass, right?
Yeah,
You
no,
moved
I was
up there?
young. Yeah, we moved from California to Grants Pass when I was about 6,
Oh, okay.
and then we moved up to Salem, like 8th grade.
Okay, gotcha. Because you're the youngest of 3 brothers. Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I
3
thought.
brothers. Yeah, the twins. They're almost 11 years older than
Okay.
me, and I guess if you want to talk about family, it gets even a little bit more interesting. But my parents have been together since middle school,
Wow.
and yeah, my mom had my brothers when she was 16.
Oh.
Twins. Yeah, Dane's face
You
right
thought
now.
you were
Whoa!
young, Gabe.
I was gonna say Gabe's getting out competed here.
She outdid me on that one.
Yeah, family of 4,
Tim
super
at
young.
68.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was tough, So they had to work for everything they had.
So your brothers are twins, but they're 11 years older than you.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, and just it's obvious since my mom was young, but yeah, they were the mistake.
And for the
I was playing.
I was the on
right?
purpose.
But think about how long it took for them to actually want to have
it's like,
another kid.
Yeah.
I'm 27 now. I'm old enough.
Yeah. Now I finally old
Kids
enough to
going
have
into
a
middle
kid.
school, and we should have kids now.
Yeah, exactly.
So your brothers are also coffee icons. They're Dutch Bros guys. I mean, so for people who are listening who don't know Brandon, you came out of the whole Dutch Bros story. So that happens. I mean, maybe I'm skipping forward too far, but you're talking about your brothers. I can't help bring up Dutch Brothers.
I get
'cause
it.
For those listening,
It does happen.
Your brothers are heavily involved in Dutch Brothers, correct?
Yeah.
From kind of the beginning.
Yeah, they went to their senior year in high school with Travis Boersma, the co-founder of Dutch Bros. And so, through that process, got to know Travis, and the early franchisees of Dutch Bros were all friends. So it was their friends that franchised first and kind of paved the path for them to get involved, and then ultimately me as well. So I helped Aaron open up his first store in Albany, and then I helped Jason open up his first store in Kaiser, and then I opened mine a year later.
Wait, in Albany, didn't Dane work there?
I worked at the first
At
stand
A1?
that Aaron brought up.
Isn't that like a super productive store? Like, I mean,
it's his most productive.
Of course, everyone I
stand.
drive by has a line out the.
That is his most productive stand.
Of course, I go by Bentleys. There's a line around Bentleys too now. So
you know what's way better than Dutch Bros?
What?
Bentleys.
Bentley's coffee.
Yeah.
You're gonna take Dutch Bros down, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
we're just gonna do what we do, and if the line's longer, the line's longer. I can't predict that.
Why did you separate yourself from Dutch Brothers and go do your own thing?
I think just my personality is super creative, and that's what I love the most is being creative and solving problems and creating new paths forward. And when I was involved with Dutch Bros, it was very easy. Everything was kind of laid out for you, right? Like, here's exactly what we're gonna do. Here's exactly the drinks we're gonna serve. Here's the recipes. Here's your employee packet.
Yeah, it's plug and play because it's a franchise. I mean, they had to build a system and pass it. Yeah.
They did everything that they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And the company was great, and I didn't have any issues with the company or the business that I was running. It was really just super personal in terms of I just wasn't really happy. I wasn't really feeling like I was growing. I felt like I was just taking what somebody else had built and operating it.
So you wanted to spend more time at the kitchen table solving problems.
Yeah. But I didn't know how many problems there would actually be. So, when I was involved in Dutch Bros and I was pretty successful, I felt like at a young age, and I think the ego got involved a little bit, and I thought, well, this is so easy, I can just go do my own. And it turns out it's not very easy.
It's actually pretty hard to start a coffee shop.
This is really hard.
Yeah, wow.
I even remember, our first menu, I was like, I'm not worried about the menu. That won't take very long to create, And so you put it off, and then you're getting ready to open. You're like, well, I guess I need to create a menu. Holy shit, that's hard. Every detail is hard. And, so I got a lot more than I bargained for on that one, but I wouldn't change it.
That's
so
hilarious.
Were you an employee at Dutch Bros then, or were you a franchisee, or what role did you have?
Yeah, so originally I was essentially an employee for my brother, just helped getting everything set up and rolling on their ends, and then I was a franchisee.
Oh, and then had your own stand.
Yes.
And then you're partial owner in it and do that whole thing? Or
Yeah, exactly.
okay.
Well, their franchise model, like to break it down, aren't you just buying everything from them, but outside of that, or they take a small cut off revenue, but it's really not, or it wasn't crazy back then, right?
Yeah, I think it's about the same. I mean, to be honest, I don't know every detail. I mean, things have changed a lot. I left 15 years ago, so there's been a lot of changes in their company. But you pay a franchise fee. They take like 5% of gross. There's some other fees in there, but yeah, they provide everything. You essentially buy everything through them. All the vendors, all the machines, just everything is there for you.
So in going back a little bit, you were trying to do real estate deals before Bentley, correct?
Yeah.
You're talking about? So
yeah.
What did you see in real estate? What did you try to start doing, and what did that look like?
So, when I was young, I had a really close friend that his family is extremely successful in real estate. His grandfather had started a successful real estate company in Vancouver, and they owned thousands of apartments, millions of square feet of commercial. And when you're in high school and you go stay at your friend's house and he says, hey, we're going to go to Arizona tomorrow and check out ASU. Do you want to go? We're going to take the plane. It's like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, let me check my schedule really quick. Yeah, no, I can go.
Yeah. So we hop on the jet and fly down to Arizona and check out the school, grab some lunch, and fly home, and all is good. So, I saw a really, really successful, self-made company. It's all family. They didn't bring in outside investors. It's just a family business, and they've done extremely well. And I saw the power of real estate through that. I mean, I really didn't understand it at that point in time, but I knew that I wanted to be involved. So when I was graduating high school, I didn't move out of my parents' house. I didn't go to college. Well, I drove by the college a couple times.
Flew to a couple.
Yeah. I stopped by, had some lunch, walked into a class or two. That was about it. But I bought my first house when I was 20. And, that was really cool because I bought a 3-bedroom house. My payment was like $1,000 a month. I put nothing down. I did an 80-20 loan, 80% first 20% second. Yep. So
the classic.
Yeah. So
those don't exist anymore.
No. So, I may have had to come out of pocket a few grand or whatever it was. It wasn't anything super excessive. I think the price was $115,000 for the house. And my payment was about $1,000 a month. And I rented 2 bedrooms for, $350-$400 a month each. So
a couple $100.
Yeah. So I'm living in the house that I own, and it cost me $300 a month, and I'm feeling pretty good.
And you still live there today?
I wish. I still lived there today. I should. Yeah, it'd be paid off
with the roommates.
Same roommates.
Same roommates. Same
Miss
couch.
Those guys.
Yeah, same hot tub. Same stories.
Okay, so you bought this house. You're like, this is pretty cool. And then did you buy more, or what did you do after that?
I did. So that house, I moved out of probably, I don't know, a year and a half later. I bought a second house. Rented out the first one, and then I lived there for about a year, and I bought a third house.
Oh, dude, you
rented
did
out the
the
second
exact
one.
Model we try to get everyone to do.
Yeah.
Who taught you to do that?
I don't know that I really necessarily was taught by anybody.
What were you thinking when you were buying these houses? What was the goal? Like, did you dream that one day you'd have them paid off and they'd be rented out, you make some cash, or do you think they'd be worth 3 times as much as you paid for them, or what?
Yeah, looking back, I mean, my goal was ultimately to buy a house or two a year. And I thought, well, if I just did that for 20 or 30 years, I would have a pretty decent portfolio and have a retirement coming in, right? Mm-hmm. Like that was really the ultimate goal, was just to continue to buy.
Why are you thinking about retirement just out of high school?
Age, there's not many people doing it, because that was my same exact thought in my plan when I started out, but no one is thinking that long term out or executing on that. So how are you?
I was thinking about partying, and girls.
Yeah. In some ways I wish that I was, because I missed all that stuff, right? Yeah. Like it was like, hey, you got to work, you got to build a portfolio and make things happen. So I really didn't party much at all.
Did your dad build a portfolio?
No, he was always very he wanted to make the most amount of money with the least amount of work, and he didn't want headaches. So he didn't really want employees, he didn't really want tenants. I mean, they had a rental house growing up, they had a commercial property that they rented out, but he really just didn't want to deal with people and problems. He just wanted everything to be chill.
He hadn't heard of property management yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
interesting.
So did you keep buying stuff after that? So you got 3 pretty quickly, and then what do you do?
Yeah, so I had 3, and the first house that I bought, I had 3 tenants in a row not pay me, and not necessarily destroy the house, but let's say not leave it very nice. So,
were you screening them, or were you just putting people in there?
No, you just put them in there. Yeah, whoever has the money. I mean, you got $1,000, then you can get in. So the first tenant goes in, and they don't pay. I'm like, okay, well, this sucks. How do I get them out? Maybe they paid for a month or 2. I don't know. It wasn't really ideal. But I drive by the house, and the garage was filled with boxes, floor to ceiling. Like, you couldn't even walk into the garage. And I ended up doing an inspection on the house, of course, as they're not paying, and I'm trying to get them out. And I look in the front door, and they're hoarders. I mean, like something you'd see on TV, right? Like, literally, there's a path through the house.
Nice.
And if you look down that path, you see fleas literally jumping 2 feet high. There's just a sea of fleas in this house from their cats and everything that they had going on.
How long had they been there?
Not very long.
2 months.
They did that. That's what it sounded like, but how do you do that so fast?
Dude, it was wild. So I'm like, okay, this isn't working out. Really, the only reason they got out was just from persistence of saying, hey, like, you need to get out. Like, there was no, formal letters or any judge coming in saying get out. It was just saying you guys need to leave. So they leave. I get another tenant that was a friend of a friend, and single mom. Okay, this should work out super nice. She goes in. She wants a place for her and her kids. She goes in. She pays the first couple months on time, and then I get oh, you didn't get the check? I put it in the mail. No, I didn't. I didn't get it. Okay, well, let me send another one. I'll send it today. Okay. So I checked the mailbox. 3-4 days later, nothing. A few days later, nothing. You're calling. Hey, where's the check at? Oh my gosh, I had a problem. It's just kind of the same old story, right? So it takes a few months to get her out. And I'm looking, and I don't have a lot of money at this point. And my payment's $1,000 a month. And I'm probably down $6,000 or $7,000 on rent right now. And I'm thinking, this is not really working exactly as I planned.
This isn't super sustainable.
Yeah, I don't know if this is how other people do it, but this is really not working.
It's kind of like your car washing business. You just give them 6 months free.
Yeah.
And then if they like it, they can start paying rent.
Yeah, maybe subconsciously, I'm just out there trying to help the world. I can't pay my mortgage, but, as long as you're living for free, it's all good. So I ultimately ended up selling that house. I sold the second one as well. And that was probably 2006, 2005. And the third house that I bought it to live in / flip. So I did an extensive remodel. It took about a year on the remodel, put $200,000 into that house, and I was probably in it $550, and it was...
Did you have $200,000? How'd you have $200,000 put into it?
The $200,000, let's see. Some of it was my cash.
From the sale of the other two? Or...
Yeah, it gets a little foggy on where all the money went. Probably went to clean up fleas and things like that from the first house. But, yeah, I think most of the money came from myself, and then I ended up getting a second mortgage actually to pay myself back, and that was right before the market crashed.
What was your job at that time? Because most people that age don't have like $200,000 they can.
Yeah, so actually, I opened my first Dutch Bros in 2004.
Okay, so you're making decent money from doing that, and then put it in. Okay.
So I wasn't making crazy money, but I was making enough to
living cheap and saving. Yeah, at that point, I mean, if you're making $70,000, you can save $50,000 and live super cheap. Right?
Yeah, I did listen to your podcast, Trevor. $12,000 a year. I don't know that I was ever on that level, to be honest. I think that's super impressive. You're the only guy I've ever heard live off $12,000 a year intentionally. I've seen some guys downtown on the street corners that live off far less, but
maybe
not much less.
They do come in and buy a coffee every day, so
it's only $30 a day.
Yeah.
I was living good.
You're living good.
I got a season snowboarding pass and food.
I had lots of fun.
Well, you were house hacking though.
Yeah, I was getting paid to live in the house like he was. Same thing.
Yeah. Wait, so you put $200,000 into a house?
Yeah.
Market crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad timing.
It wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
looking back.
So you finished the house around 2007 or 8 or somewhere.
I'd say it was probably like late 2006 ish.
And you just didn't sell right away before the market.
No, and I listed it for a high price.
So it was on the market in 2006.
I think so. Yeah, it was on the market for like 3 years.
And didn't sell, yeah.
Yeah. So I put it on the market, and it was a really cool property. It was out in East Salem, kind of out by McClay, gated community, private lake, with a stream running right through the middle of my property.
Wow.
So beautiful spot, and I thought this is kind of a 1 in a million spot that the value is in the eye of the beholder, and it could ultimately work out really well. So I want to say I put the house up for $750, $800 the first time, which was in late 2006, and I was in it, say, $550. So I thought, well, this will be great. Make a little money. I'll move on, maybe do it again, maybe do another flip, whatever it might be. But essentially every 6 months I just lowered the price $50K. So I kind of was like chasing the market down, and I think had I just lowered it $100K the first time, I probably could have sold it. But
That's good advice right there.
Yeah, it is 100%.
If you're going to sell, otherwise just sit on it for a while till the market comes back.
Yeah. Oh, that should only take 10 years or so.
Maybe.
Yeah, so I finally sold it in 2009, and I sold it for $449.
Nice profit.
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, after realtor fees,
Nice.
after
No,
everything.
it was good. Yeah.
My second mortgage at 12%. Yeah, it worked out really well.
$130,000 or so.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. No,
Okay.
so I think, it was real interesting that real estate didn't exactly go my way in the
Yeah.
beginning, and you have these plans of here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy, 1 or 2 properties a year, and in 30 years I'll have this super simple system that I'll follow. And then someone waves an idea in front of you of, oh, what about this house? Oh, that's really cool. I could make some money on that. And so you go down this road of, well, yeah, I should totally flip that. I could make 100 or 200 grand on that. Like that'd be
Everyone that
fantastic.
flips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone that tries to flip,
Yeah.
they all lose money.
So when you sold this house for a loss, was it your portfolio back to zero?
It was zero.
Back to zero.
You were renting at the time?
Yeah, so I moved out of that house. I actually rented a house for my brother,
Wow.
which I think he was probably also underwater on that one as well. So I lived there for a little bit, and that was before I moved to Vegas, actually. So that was right around the time that I sold my Dutch Bros and was planning to open Bentleys.
Gotcha.
What year was that then?
So late 2009.
Okay. Sell Dutch Bros, plan to open Bentleys, and go to Vegas to open Bentleys?
Yeah. I had a 2-year non-compete.
Are you able to share what you sold the Dutch Bros for, or is that top secret?
I don't know.
That's okay, top secret.
Enough to
Yeah.
get you started in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I didn't end up with a ton of cash out of it because I had debt
Yeah.
on the business, so I didn't end up.
It wasn't crazy.
No, there wasn't.
You weren't retiring.
No,
Yeah,
I wasn't
It
retiring
was
at all.
less
It
than
was,
$10 million.
yeah, it was far less than 10. Yeah,
Okay.
it was a percentage of $10 million, but ultimately it really wasn't even hardly enough to get started again. Which that was another mistake that I made, was underestimating how much money it was going to take
To get going.
to open myself. Yeah.
Why Vegas? You liked Vegas? You wanted to go down there?
I'd only been there maybe one time, maybe twice, but when I left Dutch Bros, I had a 2-year non-compete, and I couldn't do anything coffee related within 10 miles of any Dutch Bros. So that really eliminated Oregon, first of all. And I really liked the sunshine. So I started looking in Southern California, Arizona, and Vegas, and those were the 3 areas that I was looking at to start Bentleys. And I just figured whichever one had a great location come up first, that's where I would go.
Whoa.
So
And then I had 5 nights a month comped at the Venetian.
yeah. Yeah. There it is.
I was a big donator, so
Yeah, I like to help out the casinos a little bit. So yeah, I found my first location in Vegas, and it was an incredible spot right on the freeway. I mean, interchange right there, probably 60,000 cars a day going by. It was the best location I've ever seen to this day.
Really?
Absolutely incredible, mind-blowing spot, right on the corner, easy in and out, pre-existing coffee shop that went out of business.
Huh.
So
You're buying this or leasing it?
leasing it.
Okay.
So I call on it, and it's available. It's empty. I'm like, this is so easy. I could move in and just remodel and do what I need to do. So 20-year lease is pretty much how the minimum that I would do back then. Now I want longer, but sign the lease, get everything settled, basically take a few employees from Dutch Bros, move to Vegas, and get started. And that was the beginning of 2010. I think we opened in February of 2010. And at that time, Vegas was a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like the hardest hit place in the world.
Yep.
And what I didn't know leading up to that was in the couple years prior, 47 coffee shops had closed in Vegas. So at that time, coffee wasn't even necessarily as popular as it is today in other parts of the country.
Yeah, it's kind of an Oregon thing.
Yeah, it's an Oregon thing, and nobody really knew what it was, and it wasn't cool. It wasn't anything. So, you open up and I think, well, this is going to be so easy to get employees, right? Like, man, it's Vegas. Like, everyone's in a good mood. Their hospitality industry, like, this is going to be super easy. Well, you don't realize that there's like what do they call it? A culinary union. And, you go work at one of the bars and you start at like $20 an hour and you make $400 a night in tips.
And this is 15 years ago.
Yeah, this is 15 years ago. And I'm like, well, I can pay like $12 an hour, like, so it wasn't easy to get employees. Like, nobody even thought a coffee shop was cool. Like, it wasn't a fun place to work. It had no energy. So trying to create that from zero was almost impossible.
So why'd you go into coffee versus a different business? Just because you knew it already?
Yeah, I mean, real estate didn't work out, so I thought I should probably stick with what I know, and I thought that there could be a really good long-term future in that as well.
So ultimately, you staffed it. It did okay.
It did okay.
You still have that location?
No.
But you had a 20-year lease.
Yeah, no, yeah, I did. Man, that would be nice to have right now. But I would say 6 months in, well, in that process, I actually opened a second location.
In Vegas?
In Vegas, I opened the second location about 4 months later. So first location opened in February, second one, summertime. Neither of them were really making any money. Like, I was scraping by.
How'd you open
So
the
I
second
actually
one?
at that time I lived on less than $12,000 a year for sure. Yeah, no, I was making no money, working 18 hours a day, nonstop, doing everything, working every shift, open to close, doing it all. And I find out that there's eminent domain action and they're going to be building a freeway. The freeway that I was so perfectly next to was expanding from 8 lanes to 16 lanes. And it was actually the largest road project in the state of Nevada ever in history. It was a multi-billion-dollar road project, and they were taking out 700 houses and businesses, and I was right in that path. And the interesting thing was that eminent domain had been on the books for at least 10 years prior. So the property owners knew that this was coming. Everybody knew that this was coming because it had been a huge conversation for a decade or more.
Brandon didn't know.
No. I figured, you know what? I'm going to sell everything I own. I'm going to move to Vegas. I'm going to open Bentleys. And then they're going to tear it down. This is going to be perfect. This is almost as good as the car washing or, the real estate, whatever it might be. I just like to go all in.
You just give value before you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're giving first.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
whoa.
At that time, like I said, just really struggling, really trying to maintain business, keep things going. Well, when you have a location that's going to be torn down, does your staff want to stay there?
Nope.
No. Like, they know.
They know the end is near.
The end is near. They don't know when it's going to be. I don't know when it's going to be. They told me, don't worry, we'll give you a 30-day notice before we kick you out. We don't know when we're going to come take it from you, but we will do you a solid, and we will give you 30-day notice for you to close down your business.
And the check they're going to write's to the owner of the land, not you.
Exactly.
Is there anything for the business having to shut down?
You know what the compensation is? They will pay a moving company to come move your business to a different location. Well, that might work if you're a dentist. Yeah. And you're like, well, yeah, my dentist moved like a few blocks or a couple miles. Yeah. Like, no problem. You're not going to lose any
Not a coffee shop on a freeway exit.
No. Best location on the planet, gone. Yeah, so we got the 30-day notice, or we got told that we were going to get a 30-day notice, and yeah, every employee basically
left,
started to look for something else, and over the course of time, you're trying to staff it and keep things going. Nobody really cares. They're not going to be there any longer. And I had a second location that was doing okay, but ultimately, the problem that I ran into was I wasn't going to get any money from the state unless I stayed until I got that notice. Yeah, so they're like, well, you have to stay. If you leave now, you get nothing. So I'm like, okay.
And you really wanted the moving fee.
Well, yeah. To be honest, there was a process where you don't know anything about this, and nobody knows anything about this because it's not something that really you hear a lot of people talk about. And I was a little bit misinformed. I was told that, I could get a chunk from the state of Nevada because the location was so unique and it wasn't replaceable. So I was told that they would essentially buy my future business that I was losing.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that I could get a
Decent
six or seven figure check, honestly. Like, it wasn't going to be 40 grand. I thought that it was going to be $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 or more that I was going to get because I was going to lose
all the future
20
business.
years of business, right? So I thought, well, then I guess I need to stay, and I'm just going to close.
Not stay to the end of 30 days, but stay till they start the project.
Well, until I get the notice.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I didn't know.
So
it
sort
could
of
be any time.
kept you in place when otherwise you would have just said, shut the thing down and let's go do a location somewhere else or just run the other one.
I couldn't. I had to stay until I got that notice. So I ended up closing the other location, actually, even though that was a fantastic location too. It was honestly just too much. I mean, there's just too much going on. I'm down there by myself, basically. I don't know anybody. I mean, you don't know how to get anything done. You want to get your windows tinted? Who do you call?
No network, no infrastructure.
You have nothing. No infrastructure, no network, no help. You're just down there trying to make it happen. So I closed the second location, and I thought, I'm just going to stay at the first one until it's over. I'm going to take my check, and I'm going to move on. And that was my plan. Well, through that process, I ended up suing the property owners
for not telling you,
for not disclosing the fact that they had gotten notice after notice after notice for a decade of this eminent domain that potentially was going to happen.
They made their problem your problem.
Yeah, 100%. So finally got the 30-day notice, packed everything up, moved back home to Oregon.
Was your 2 years up by then?
Yeah. Right, it was right at 2 years, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, almost to the day.
I think
I moved to Vegas and came home almost 2 years exactly.
So you just went to college finally?
Yeah.
In Vegas?
Yeah, I went to the master's program. Yeah, there was no 101 anything.
So you're in Vegas alone. You know no one. You're making almost no money. It's not going how it was planned. Like, very few people actually share, like, you share all the success stories, they see you now and how much money you make, but like that was one of the hardest times in your life, I'm assuming. Or
that's a pretty good assumption, Trevor.
I mean, I was really happy when we walked in here, and now I'm depressed. We better get to how much money you have again.
What did it actually feel like, though, to be in that situation? Because you can laugh and joke about it now. It's like, yeah, this led me to where I'm at, but like
let's get down to the feelings.
Yeah.
Oh man,
there had to be some despair.
Well,
there's only 5 human emotions, actually, and despair is
Can you
not
explain
one of
them to Brandon?
I try to not have emotion, but we're really getting in there today. I think ultimately the feeling was just failure, and feeling like when I left Oregon, right before I left, I had 3 homes, I had a couple Dutch Bros, I was making money, I had a new truck, I had a Harley. I was like, man, you're in your 20s and people are like, this
Killing
is incredible.
You were 10 feet tall.
Yeah. Oh, dude, at least. Yeah.
On a short day.
Yeah, on a short day, man, if I wasn't feeling good, I was only about 10 feet tall. But yeah, dude, I thought that going into Vegas and doing Bentleys and that it was going to be easy and that it was all going to work out and I was going to have a huge future and open 100 stores and it was going to be this big company that everyone would be super proud of, and I could say I told you so, right? So I want to go back to
before you do that. You just said something. I told you so. Who did you want to say I told you so to?
Man, a lot of people actually.
Were your brothers on that list?
They may have been on that list. Yeah, it actually might have been a shorter list than I'd lead to believe.
Were your parents on that list?
Not necessarily. My parents were super supportive. But
you wanted to go off, though, and prove you could make your own way.
Yeah.
You want to get out of your brother's shadow. I mean, you got 2 very successful brothers, and you're like, I'm going to go do my own thing and prove to you guys I can do this.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think the point for me that got real interesting, before I sold my stores, and I was working on this plan to make this happen for myself, I got a lot of pushback from people I knew, my brothers, from other people in Dutch Bros, from friends, from family.
Like, why would you do this?
Yeah, what are you doing?
So dumb.
Exactly. So people
You hit
are
the
looking,
lottery.
Yeah. People are looking at me and they're saying, you don't appreciate what you have. You're so successful. You make all this money. You have a great business. You have everything in the world. Why would you give that up? What is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's so stupid. And I would hear things like, dude, Dutch Bros is going to be huge. Like you're in early. Like, this is going to be the best thing to ever happen to so many people, and you're just throwing it away. And so going off and failing was hard to take. So back to Trevor's question of the real dark stuff, right? I mean, so I'm in Vegas. My family comes down to help me kind of pack up, right? Get a moving truck, pack up all my equipment. You're taking menus off. You're kind of like, this is the end of, you know, what I came to do. And coming home, right? Like, nobody wants to move home broke. Like, yeah, I went
back in with your parents.
I did. Yeah.
And how old are you at this point?
30.
Okay.
Yep. And, you know, the interesting thing was I had no dollars. I mean, I didn't
He's
have
talking like Trevor
I didn't
now.
have dollars, right? Like, it was bad. So
You're broke.
I'm 100% broke. And not only am I broke, I mean, I lost about $460,000 in that process. So that was pretty much everything
That's
I had.
it.
That was it. So through that process, I had screwed up my credit a little bit as well. I was in some debt, a little bit of debt that I'd taken on as well to open the 2 locations and just everything, right? So I come back, I have no money. I live with my parents, and I have debt that I feel like I need to pay off, which ultimately maybe I didn't have to, because most people don't, but it was something that I felt like I needed to do. So I had people that I needed to pay off, and I had nothing. And I kind of went back to my roots, actually. I think the one thing that we didn't talk about is in high school, I was buying and selling cars.
This is what I wanted to
No
get to.
way.
Yeah.
This is how you dug out of the hole?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, so I move home, I have nothing, and I think I had maybe like $3,000 actually, because I had essentially not paid some bills when I left in order to keep that little chunk that I had left. You know, like I didn't pay the power bill, right? Like the last power bill at Bentleys, or like things like that I was like, well, if I pay this, I'm literally going to have
You're just throwing it
nothing.
away.
Yeah. So I was like, you know, I'm going to keep the little bit that I have left. And I came home, and I want to say I was home for one day, and the next day I was out looking for a car to buy so that I could make $500,
So you didn't give
$1,500.
up at that time. You were like, I'm going to figure out a way to make more money, pay this back, and keep going?
Dude,
or
I
were
was
you
Rocky, bros. I had the tiger, man. I mean, I'm on the beach, you know, my head down, and I was like, dude, I don't have a choice. And ultimately, I think as human beings, if we're given a choice, we allow ourselves to fail. But when you look at it and you say, I don't have a choice, I have to do this. This is life or death. And that's how I felt about it. And so I spent 6 months. I turned that $3,000 into $50,000, and I bought the Mission Street property for Bentleys there.
You bought the property.
6
Yeah.
months later,
Yeah,
the whole time you're flipping cars, you know you're looking for a
I came
Bentley
home
spot.
February 1st, 2012, and we opened Mission Street September. 8 months later, we opened. So I bought it. Yeah, I bought it 6 months later.
And when you came back, did you know you wanted to open Bentleys here at some point? Or were
You know,
were
I don't know, dude. It was a blur, right? It was like this was like life or death, right? So I wasn't necessarily.
You're in fight or flight for
Yeah.
a
No, I'm
year.
not. I'm not planning anything. I'm just trying to figure out how to survive.
Survival.
Yeah, I just want to figure out how do I get out from under this like darkness of you leave Oregon feeling like you're 10 feet tall, and you come back to Oregon and you're like, I might
3 to
have
4.
to change my phone number, you know, like yeah, I don't really want to have a Facebook. What am I going to put on there? So yeah, you really had to just kind of restart.
So you didn't get
from
that
nothing.
check from Nevada ever?
Yeah, when did that come in? When did
You know what? That did come in, actually. It came in a couple months later, and I got like, you know, when it came in was when I opened Mission, because they would pay for moving. So they actually did pay for a few things. They paid to like put up my signs on the building. There was like maybe 15 or 20 grand, I feel like, that ultimately kind of came from the state that helped at least
Get it going.
get things started. Yeah, what didn't feel like a lot at the time.
Yeah.
But it was a help. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so you open Bentleys on Mission. That's your first one. And then what year was that now that you're in? That's like 2011?
2012, yeah, September.
Well, technically, that's
2012.
like your 10th one.
It
But
is.
your first Oregon Bentleys.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I opened a couple Dutch Bros. I opened Bentleys in Vegas,
Yeah.
and then opened.
So you know how to do
This is
it at
old
this
hat.
point. Like,
Yeah.
You've been flipping coffee shops for a while now.
yeah, not successfully.
So are your brothers like, what the hell, dude? Why are you opening Bentleys when we got Dutch Bros around here?
Across the street.
Yeah.
He's like, 2 years is up.
Yeah.
I know what locations I want. Find me something within a block of a Dutch
Yeah,
Bros.
I want to make sure that my employees can see the Dutch Bros sign out of the window. No, you know, it was an interesting conversation, but I did go to them and I said, hey, like here's what happened. I left Dutch Bros. I left Oregon to do my own thing. We didn't get to hang out much during those 2 years. First of all, I didn't have time, so I think I only came home once, maybe twice in those couple of years. I was there. I had to work. So, Chris, there was no
Were you
holidays.
7 days a week in Vegas?
7 days a week, yeah. All day. Open to
27
close.
hours.
To lose 460 grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of the world's most expensive educations.
You should have just played poker.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Nah, dude.
Gabe, I didn't know Gabe back then, so I couldn't take his money.
Well, I was sort of thinking that the union job with 400 a night in tips might have been an idea. Like,
Yeah, that
You
would have
could've
been
been a
actually a really
stripper.
good idea, but yeah, I don't make a good stripper, and I wasn't. I wasn't really into the club scene, if you will. So
Yeah.
Okay. So you tell your
Jeez.
brothers, you come back, you talk to them, and what do you tell them?
Yeah, gave them the breakdown on what happened in Vegas, right?
yeah, I mean, they knew. I mean, they were there for the whole thing. They
Yeah.
knew. You know, they knew where I was at. But you know, I just came to it and I said, look, you know, I don't have to do Bentleys in Oregon. I could do it somewhere else.
But I want to take you down.
But we're not. Yeah. Well, maybe I was thinking that, Trevor. But no, I just said, look, you know, I can move away and I can do this again. But like,
That's no fun.
where's our family, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the things that you learn moving away is you only have one family.
Yep.
So and we've always, you know, even though there's always issues in family, we've always had a great relationship. We've always spent a lot of time together. And yeah, so I just said, look, I have an opportunity to buy this property and I want to open Bentleys there, and that's what I want to do. And I wanted to let you know that I'm not doing this to try to be your competition. I'm doing this so that we can continue to hang out. Because if I'm not going to do it here, then see you guys later. See you in a year, see you in 2 years, whatever it might be, right? So those are the choices that I had. You either are a competition with your family or you never see them. So I made the choice to just stay here and do it.
What'd they think about it at that time?
You know, I don't know. I think that they probably didn't see a real future in it. You know, it
They're
was
just like, whatever, you can have a Bentleys there. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, after failing, right, like there's not necessarily a lot of like, oh
weren't
yeah, we're
worried.
real scared of this guy with his
shoot.
$3,000, you know, yeah. Oh no, please don't open across the street
Brandon,
from
don't
us.
take us over.
Yeah. Don't go into the old bikini coffee shop across the street with beach chairs out front. Yeah, that's really scary.
So how'd it go on Mission?
You know, that was also extremely hard. Again, I put myself in a position of, you know, where you're working 7 days a week, and it was slow. It was super slow. Yeah, when we opened, we were doing about $300 a day or less. So yeah, no,
and
there
you
wasn't.
were just making coffee. It was you making the coffee.
Yeah, I mean, I had 3 employees at the time, but Yeah, it was not easy. I mean, you're waiting 45 minutes for the
Between
next car to pull up, and yeah, we didn't see a lot of customers. It was super slow, and you got to remember that not only is there Dutch Bros across the street, but there's Black Rocks, there's Starbucks, there's Human Bean. Like, the Northwest is the most competitive coffee area of the world, and people are creatures of habit. You know, they go to the same place every day. Well, why are they gonna try the new place? Like, they're happy with where they go. They go every day. They get their drink. They know the baristas. They have that relationship. Why would they come across the street? So I just feel like we had to earn every single customer.
How'd you do it? How'd you get their attention?
We ran some promotions with, free drinks, dollar drinks. That was really the only way.
Do you think your digital sign had anything to do with your success?
Yeah, we did. That digital sign, man, that was interesting. So I bought that used, $500 a month. I bought it from a guy that had got a new one. And yeah, I bought that sign, and I don't even know if I gave him any money down, but I gave him $500 a month. And
you bought a sign on contract?
On contract, yeah. I used.
So remember, he had $3,000.
Yeah,
he had no money.
Hey, so this was my first deal.
He had 50 by now.
Yeah.
3 and then 50.
Plus,
still
20,
felt
plus
like he had
20
three.
from Nevada.
Yeah,
We're getting better. It's getting better.
We're
It
cooking.
is. Yeah, I'm a deal junkie for used LED signs, and I'm gonna try to figure out how to buy this for no money.
All right.
You were ripping.
Yeah. So I put out this 5-foot by 10-foot LED billboard right in front of Bentleys, and I think that helped a lot.
I think it did too.
It was cool. Yeah, it was.
So you remember this sign from 10 years
Well,
ago? Or?
yeah, the reason I remember is because, I don't know if I've talked about Live Bar much on here. Jen and I, to talk about losing more money, I think we lost about $6.5 million on Live Bar. But Brandon was one of the first people that was like, yeah, heck yeah, let's put some Live Bars out. I think you even called me and you're like, let's put some Live Bars here at Bentley's, just supporting local and doing whatever, which was really cool because we were trying to get our brand out there. You're trying to get their brand out. So we collaborated a little bit. He put the Live Bar logo up on that digital.
That's
sign.
funny. I don't remember
So,
that.
It's like kind of supporting us. I'm like, yeah, like
That's
$500 a month, so you can pay for his sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
We had 20 customers a day, so we sold a lot of Live Bars.
So how long did you have like that amount of customers for, and how long did it take to grow and go from there?
So, yeah, we grew from $300 a day to maybe $800 a day over the next 6 months.
And how much does it cost? It costs you like $300 a day to run this thing or more, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not making any money.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm straight Trevor vibes. No cash, just living off of nothing. No, there was no profit, but I thought, well, we should probably expand. So
You know what I
we need
do
more.
know? You know what I do know how to do? Open coffee shop.
yeah, I know how to open them. I don't know how to run them or make any money, but I know how to open them. So I was looking at the old Quickies coffee shop in Kaiser, and they had been there for a while, and I thought, well, maybe they want to sell to me. So I made a phone call, and he said, yeah, we'll sell to you. So we worked out a price. I ended up having to get a loan to pay for it. But, yeah, we opened up Kaiser 11 months after we opened Mission Street.
Okay.
So we had 2 locations essentially our first year. And, Mission Street grew a little bit. Kaiser already had a customer base, which was nice, which was actually the reason why I wasn't super scared of opening in Kaiser, because they already had customers coming in. So we were just going to convert it to a Bentley's, hopefully get some new customers. But I didn't see that as a huge risk because there was already revenue coming in, which, right, like buying an apartment building that's already full, it's already got the revenue coming in. So that's how I looked at it.
Did you see a lot of that? Like, a lot of the customers were previous Quickies people?
Oh, yeah, for sure, because we were only closed for 2 weeks.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so we went in, just ripped everything out, threw some signs up, put everything back in, and reopened.
Who
2
did the
weeks
remodel?
Later. It wasn't extensive, but we did, and I have a friend that I met through life that has done a lot of our remodels and stuff. So, yeah, it was. I had some help.
Wow.
I had more than
More than
$3. I had like $20, but
So how'd you open, if you're not profitable on the first one and you're bleeding, how'd you get money to put a down payment and open the next one?
You got a loan.
yeah,
Yeah.
For 100% of it?
yeah.
Oh.
You said my payment has to be $300 a day or less.
Yeah, no, I mean, we weren't bleeding on the first one.
You
I just-
eventually got to profitable, but it's
Yeah.
insignificant. And
Yeah,
then-
it is insignificant. I mean, if you're making $2,000 a month or whatever, it's not like there's so much extra cash. This is enough
Yeah.
for me to like be able to eat.
Yeah, you were like 5 feet tall. At
Yeah,
that point.
no, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So at what point do you like turn this thing around? Because now you have a profitable business, you're growing, expanding. So when is the turning point in all this?
You know, it was a really slow process. I mean, we just grew a little bit each year, and we didn't open the third location until 2019. So there was a 6-year gap.
Whoa.
2 locations first year, 6 years to open number 3.
And was that just figuring out how to optimize and become profitable for those 6 years, or you were just tired of opening more, or why not sooner?
You know, I really didn't think that we had the proper infrastructure to go outside of the area. So Salem was my market.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking for a location in South Salem for 12 years and still haven't found one. I mean, ultimately finding a location that works for a drive-through coffee shop that is almost impossible.
That doesn't have eminent domain.
That doesn't
Yeah.
have, that they're not going
Incoming.
to take away from you after you move 1,000 miles away.
When you're buying these, you're buying the like when you bought the quickies, was that you're not buying land because they're parked on somebody's parking lot. So you're just buying their business and kiosk and equipment.
Yeah, exactly.
So you own that building, though? The improvements?
Yeah, you could say that. I own the building. I mean, I take care of it. I maintain it. But ultimately,
They can be moved.
No, that's built ground up. Yeah, so it's a land lease
Okay.
essentially.
Is
A
your
long
Mission
one?
Street one a land lease too, or do you own that
No,
lot?
I own Mission.
Okay.
Oh, you own the
You own
land
the
on
dirt.
Mission?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I
knew
got
that, 'cause
100%.
that's where
I
you-
got 100% financing to buy that too because I didn't have any money.
From a individual or a bank?
A ninja loan.
I did a deal, and they were asking $275,000 for that property, and I don't have any money, so I don't know how I'm going to make this work. But I offered $210,000, and the seller really didn't want cash, but he wanted some cash, so he ended up carrying $110,000, I think. I don't remember what the terms were, 6% or
Sure.
8% or whatever it was, right, for so many years, and then there was a balloon, and then I got a second private money loan for 12% for the other $100,000.
Okay.
So I went in no money
Yeah.
to buy that property.
Do you think that's part of why you lend money at lower interest rates now? Because you had such a bad time. You want to pay it back out to the world.
I don't know if I'd say that. Didn't I tell you about the one that?
Oh, you did.
Yeah, no.
It just varies a lot.
I do 0% or
Or 100%.
Yeah, those are the two. I don't do anything in the middle.
No, I'm not a 12% guy. We're either friends or we're not.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm either doubling my money in a year.
Yeah, you can either take it and don't even pay me payments or interest, or
and hopefully give it back later, or you're gonna hate it.
Yeah,
That's a good way to do it. Oh.
So how many locations do you have today?
we have 5 right now. We've got our 6th one opening in Redmond this year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's sick.
So you finally
one's gonna be
decided
cool.
to move out of the Salem market, and your infrastructure can handle that, you feel?
Yeah, I mean the infrastructure can handle it, and something that I'm working on now, just business wise, is trying to reevaluate everything that we've done for the last 12 years, because everything has been pieced together, right? Business is kind of a never-ending cycle, and you're constantly trying new things, you're plugging in things, and we're at a place right now where I think everything runs really, really well. I mean, it's definitely successful, as I think in most people's eyes. But I want to look to the future, and I want to look to creating systems and processes that allow us to be successful as a business, but also allow, our crew to grow and to give people opportunities to grow and learn. And I think that's the only way that we can go outside of the area. So going to Redmond, we're looking at Boise right now. I can't do that maybe the way that I've ran Bentleys so far. Like, we really need to fine tune things so that we can.
Once you have those systems and procedures in place, do you think you'll franchise?
No.
Well, I was going to ask, so is the bottleneck just having it written down? Because you guys seem like you have really good systems and processes in place, but obviously a lot of that's just tacit. Like, the people that work there just know what needs
He's
to
talking
get
about
done.
organizing it, formalizing it.
Yeah, like, and not that you're going to franchise, but that if you think of yourself as a franchisee, it's like, what would I need to go to Boise if I were starting Bentleys?
Yeah, I mean, we have everything written down. I mean, we have really solid processes currently, but those processes are a lot of times dependent on me, right? I'm present. I'm in the stores every day. So every day I'm at least one store, if not 2, 3, all of them. So I'm at a store and I can kind of see the pain points as they come up, and I can ask people to make tweaks or give people advice or things like that. And so one of the things that we need to do is we need to figure out, I think, continued training for our baristas and for our leaders, and to make sure that everybody has the tools they need to do the job the best and to provide the best customer service. It's a hard business, honestly. I mean, if you're a barista, you got to know how to make a million different drinks, different ways to make those drinks. You've got to know how to work the equipment. You've got to know how to have good customer service, work the POS. Like, there's so many details that go into being a barista today. 20 years ago, do you want a hot latte or an iced latte? Like, those were the options, right? There wasn't really much out there. And now it's really, really complicated. So something that we've been doing is we've spent the last 3 months simplifying. So I've got like a team of leaders that we've been meeting every week or two, and we've got just a multi-page document that is just running through scenarios and looking at everything we do and saying, how can we simplify this?
Mm-hmm.
How can we make it so that a new barista can come work at Bentleys and
More
not
quickly.
be overwhelmed?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if they're overwhelmed, how are they going to give the customer good service?
Yeah.
You know, how are they going to make it so that every time you come in and get a drink, it's exactly the same?
That's what I was going to say too, is it's not only because I dabbled in coffee back in
You
the day.
did.
Were you a
Yeah.
barista or a broista?
I was both. I was both.
Oh, you're
Yeah. My
What
title
are you
was
doing
today? Yeah. I was just asked a lot of questions. I just played Trevor for a couple years at Dutch Bros. But the hardest part was probably not remembering the drinks for me. It was remembering the drinks and talking to the people while I was trying to quickly make the drink.
Yeah.
Like, making it is one thing, but making it in an amount of time that's not annoying for the guy that's fifth in line is a whole nother drill.
While you're being friendly and having a
While you're
conversation.
trying to talk to somebody. Yeah, no. So that's something that you guys are competitive on. Where, like, there's certainly still coffee shops that, like, if there's 4 cars in line, I'm not going to go wait in line.
Yeah.
Because I know that it's going to be 20 minutes. Whereas at Bentleys or, like, Dutch Bros, as an example, they're moving cars
quick.
super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing the best we
You guys
can,
are
man.
quick.
But I think that we're in a place of just trying to figure out how do we grow and eliminate the problems moving forward. So right now, as a small company, like, we can keep tabs on everything and we can make it work. But I don't think it's the most efficient process or just business in general. It's super, super tough.
I asked Trevor the other day how Elon Musk runs all these different businesses, SpaceX and X and XAI and Tesla and Doge, and I mean, you can run down a list and go, I don't even understand. And Trevor says, well, all he does is go to each business and try to figure out what their biggest bottleneck is, help them solve that bottleneck. He just camps out till they solve the bottleneck, and then he goes to the next one. So that's kind of your model. Is like, you've gotten to the point now where you're showing up and you're the guy who says, let's find the bottlenecks in each one of our each one of these coffee, you're trying to build a system because you don't want to go to one Bentley's and get a different coffee or experience than you get at the next one that you go to.
Yeah, 100%. And looking at Tesla, for example, that kind of lines up with a lot of highly successful businesses is they focus on one thing and they do it really well. I mean, Teslas, they all look the same. They don't have 74 models, 48 colors. Here's your options list. It's 12 pages long. It's like, do you want a white Tesla or a white one? I mean, here's your options. So even though it's an innovative company and what they've done
they simplified.
Yeah, but they make it super simple. And you go over to Ford and it's like, dude, if you order a car and you look and there's 4,000
different F-250
yeah, it's unlimited. And I think, if you look at Tesla, you look at Costco.
Yeah.
Well, if you compare Costco to Walmart, Walmart's 1,000 times the size, right? Mm-hmm. And they have 200,000 items in a super Walmart. Costco has 4,000 items. So Costco's really, really focused on those 4,000 items, and Walmart doesn't care about the 200,000 items they have. They just get in whatever they feel like makes sense.
Whatever's cheap.
Yeah, whatever's cheap and whatever. So, Walmart's a far bigger company. Costco's way more successful in terms of individual store revenue and in terms of like customer satisfaction. Yeah. And so I think if you look at Costco, Tesla,
Chipotle,
I was going to say In-N-Out, but they're really hyper focused, and the In-N-Out process is something that's super interesting where they don't, you have to work up, it can take up to 2 years to man the grill. Like, it's a really, really tight process where, and I don't know every detail about it. Because I've been reading about In-N-Out quite a bit lately.
Yeah, any business that can have a 2-hour line waiting outside
at all
they
times.
Opened 5 or 6 years ago or something?
Yeah,
like
we thought it would die down.
I thought, this will last a month. It's been going on for half a decade.
Yeah. Yeah, they have really, really tight processes, and the training is insane. So you're going to train on how to cut tomatoes for months. I mean, that's all you're going to do. You're going to cut tomatoes, and they've got to be perfect. They've got to be. They don't use the outside of the tomatoes, right? They only use the middle of the tomatoes so that it's the right size for the burger. And they go absolutely crazy on
the details.
Where are you reading this at?
There's a couple of In-N-Out books.
Okay.
I'm like halfway through my second one.
Gotcha. So you just see In-N-Out because you see the line there. You're like, I want to model my coffee shop after this because this is a successful restaurant business, or what's the?
I don't even know if it's the line as much as it is
the quality.
Yeah, like I want to be able to provide a super, super high level of quality and consistency, and I think that there's a ton of wildly successful companies that don't do that, and you see companies that have been around for 100 years that are closing, or 50 years or whatever, right? I mean, Macy's is closing. There's so many huge companies that ultimately fail because they're trying to do too many things. Yeah. And I don't ever want to be in that boat. You asked me if I want a franchise. I have no interest in franchising. But I do want Bentley's to be a forever company. Like, I don't think about it in terms of making money in 2025 or 2026. I think about it of where is Bentley's going to be in 20 years? Where are we going to be in 50 years? And so that's like my focus right now is how do I really, really fine tune the details to have a runway to actually be able to do that. If we just grow, and I could do that, we could just open stores and keep our process as is, and we might be successful, and we might have 40 locations in 10 years, and we might be wildly successful, but I don't know that creates a forever company.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do, and I'm trying to figure out how do I do that.
So you keep talking about focus in this one thing, but you've gotten distracted a few times along the way, and now you're thinking about buying more real estate deals, right?
Yeah.
So why are you thinking about buying real estate at all if you like this is the goal?
Yeah, well, I love real estate. I always have.
It's done a lot for you.
Well,
he's got more to the story.
Oh, we're gonna get into that in the next. If this episode made you sad, don't just wait till the next episode. Yeah. It's gonna get better.
Yeah, no. I love real estate, and I do think that it's a great way to have diversification ultimately from Bentleys. And I've tried to set things up at Bentleys in a way that if our business drops 50% tomorrow, like, we're going to be fine. I don't want to be leveraged. I don't want to have super high bills every month. I don't want to be stressed out. So I might pass up a location that's crazy expensive because I don't want to put myself in a position where I have to hit a certain number of revenue to break even or make money. I want to be in a position that we're going to do the best that we can do, and the market's going to dictate how successful we are. But you never know when the next COVID's going to happen, or you never know what's going to happen in the future, right? We can look at the past and we can indicate, yeah, we're probably going to be okay, but you just never know. So I want to be in a position of absolute strength where there's just no way that I could lose it all, because I already did that once and that sucks.
Why is franchising not the way to grow Bentleys?
You want the honest answer,
Yeah.
or which answer do you want here? Because I can do it a couple different ways here.
Give me the real answer.
The real answer is what I saw as a franchisee was, including myself, people that didn't appreciate it. People don't always appreciate.
So they had ownership, but they really hadn't taken true ownership.
You can have ownership, but do you have the blood, sweat, and tears?
Yeah.
That goes into that ownership.
Well, yeah, because somebody had to do all the pain part to get you the operating manual to run the business, and so now somebody just hands you all the answers.
Yeah.
It's like getting a test, but then they hand you a book with all the answers to the test.
Yeah.
You don't have to. I mean, so there's no real challenge in it, is what you're saying.
Well, I think there's a challenge in franchising for sure. I think that could be super difficult
because you got to find the right franchisees to buy in, and they're not going to be. What I'm getting at is a franchisee is not necessarily a problem solver. You might be a business person, but you might not be entrepreneurial. You're looking to go sell somebody else's product. It's not yours.
Yeah, and ultimately, I want to be able to provide opportunities for the people that have been at Bentleys for a long time. Right?
Okay.
Like, I have such a great staff. I mean, everybody's incredible, and we have a lot of great long-term people. I think we have 3 people that have been with us for 8 years. So I think that there's a lot of opportunities that we can provide if we grow as a company, and we can push them to be better, and there can be actual career paths, and we're no longer going to be looked at as this little coffee shop in Salem if we continue to grow. But if you franchise, I actually think it takes longer to give your staff opportunity, because when I franchised, there was nobody at corporate coming up, or like there was 30 locations when I opened my first store, and there was 4 people at corporate, right? Like, it didn't take a team of hundreds of people to run those 30 locations. Every franchisee was individual. They hired their people, and the owners went in and did what they needed to do. So I think that there could be more opportunity for my crew by doing it all internally. You
talked about Bentleys becoming a forever company. Do you think at some point you might consider being an employee-owned company?
That's funny that you bring that up. I mean, I've definitely seen other companies do that. I mean, Winco is really one that comes to mind. Where was I at? Was it Shields? Were they an employee? Do you know what that?
I know what Shields is. Yeah, they might be. Yeah. What do you call it? An ESOP?
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting concept. I haven't looked into it at all.
All right.
But I do think that there's opportunities to, make them feel like they have a stake in it.
Okay.
What is In-N-Out's model? Is it an operator model or a franchisee model?
Oh, it's operator. Yeah,
that's
it's 100% company owned.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've never franchised. What do they have? 400 locations now? But it's been around for 80 years. And so, again, like, people look at In-N-Out, oh, they're super successful, right? We want to duplicate that. Well, dude, it took 80 years.
80 years.
Yeah. So, or even Dutch Bros or anything, or like you said with me, people, oh, you're super successful. Yeah. Well, you didn't see the early days.
Yeah.
So, and that's another reason why I'm not really concerned about massive growth or how many locations do you want to open? I'm surprised Trevor hasn't asked me that yet, but that's the question that I get over and
You're
over
inching
and
it along
over again. Yeah, everybody says, how many locations do you want to open? I'm like,
you want
I don't
sustainable growth that doesn't make you have a heart attack and keep you up at night.
Are you?
Sorry. Yeah, I've had those nights, and I don't ever want to have one again.
Yeah,
so,
you have had those nights.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that what we do is 100% sustainable and it's really thought through. And, if we open, we opened 2 stores our first year. We didn't open another one for 6 years. So if I move forward, I don't know where we're going to be, and I can't make promises to anybody to say we're going to open 3 stores next year.
Yeah.
We might open 3 next year. We also might open 0.
Yeah.
I really don't know, and I don't want anybody breathing down my neck telling me that I have to open more, I have to do things a certain way. I want to be able to just grow at what feels right to me.
Yeah.
And not worry about the rest. I don't know where we're going to be. Maybe we're in and out in 80 years, maybe we're not. Maybe we're like a Burgerville. We've got kind of a smaller chain, and
30 locations.
I'm open to any of it. Yeah, I don't have like this long-term growth strategy other than little by little.
You sound a lot like your dad.
Do I? Yeah, could be. We're similar in a lot of ways.
He wanted to keep it under control in his.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any stress.
So I
have no stress.
Yeah, are you trying to do this to make more money, or you just like the game of doing it at this point? Because you could not do anything and you make a good amount of money and
you're addicted to business.
I'm addicted to business in general.
And
so it's just a game to you?
He's got to make money to go play poker with me. Because I'm going to start taking some of his money.
I just love it. I mean, I just love business, and that's why I come to the real estate meetups and why I love hanging out with you guys. You guys are just doing things to be better every day, and I think ultimately it may not even be the business that I love so much. It's the challenges that come along with it.
Yeah, it's a game.
It's 100% a game.
Yeah. Do you think part of the reason you love it now is because of the failure you had and then getting to
Dude, I wouldn't trade the failure for anything.
Yeah.
That defined my life, and that's what made it 1,000 times better. When I had things easy, which they were, I mean, I was successful, right? I thought I was a genius. I mean, oh, dude, I'm 23. I got a few houses.
Did it make you an asshole?
Oh, probably. I don't know. Maybe ask some people. I have no idea. Yeah.
I was sick. I know that much.
Yeah,
I don't know what everybody else thought.
I was a gangster, bro. I was living right. I was feeling good. I mean, yeah. My friends were getting out of college. They're in debt. They're like, I got a job. It's $28,000 a year. I'm like, dude, I'm doing good over here. And then 5 years later, I'm like, hey, I'm broke.
Do you guys have any jobs?
We'll hang out, but you're gonna have to buy the beer because I really can't afford it.
I also can't drink tonight because I have to go to the coffee shop at 4 a.m.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the failures are. I think that everybody needs to fail. I think it's the best thing that could ever happen to you.
So how do you differentiate? Because there's a lot of people who do what you do, not exactly what you do, but they try to do that, and then they fail, and then they don't continue forward. We met a dude at the gym the other day who was at that point in your career where he's failing hard.
I've never had somebody suck the life out of me as hard as this.
Oh, it was sad to see.
Yeah, I wasn't even. We were trying to help.
It was like the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah, he was on his hero arc, or his villain arc, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that made me really think about it because I see you, I see Gabe, and you guys have these crazy stories, and Chad and all these other guys that you're friends with, right? And so we see the success cases, but then we see this guy who's thinking the same things, trying to do the same things, but he doesn't make it. And that made me think, okay, is the difference there's just a ton of people who don't make it that try, or is it because they're giving up partway through? What is?
Well, pure raw determination is what you need, first of all. And there's a lot of luck that comes in business. And what? No,
there's lucky breaks because you kept trying.
No, the congruence between your story and Gabe's story is 5 years of not sleeping and working relentlessly to get to the point that you knew you could get to, you just didn't know when. And his was to pay off obviously quite a large amount of debt, but yours was just to I think a huge part of yours was like partially probably to prove to other people or like say I told you so. But I think the bigger part was just that you wouldn't let yourself be the person who like quit, who went down to Vegas and quit, or who came back and then like settled for something less than you in your mind knew you could become.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there was no choice, man. It was life or death. That I didn't even think about it. There was no conscious thoughts of, okay, I'm going to start a business and it's going to be a forever company. And I mean, there was nothing like that at all.
It's just what you had to do.
You had to. Yeah, there was no choice. And that's how I was raised. I was raised to be tough and to ignore the pain and to do whatever you have to do to make it work.
Endure. Would you say that failure was your pathway to success? I mean, you had to get through it.
Personally, yes.
Yeah.
Personally. Business-wise, I think that there's a lot of people that are really successful that haven't had massive failures. And I think that's where some of the luck comes in. And, we don't know what path we're going to go down. I mean, I wasn't born into coffee. I wasn't born into, real estate. You just kind of pick up on the people around you. And meeting up with you guys and seeing you guys, right, it kind of like reinvigorates some of the fire for real estate. To go back to your question, I've always had that fire, but I've been focused on Bentleys. So I just think there's a lot of luck involved, but you have to have the determination to overcome the problems. And then you have to start realizing how to avoid the problems. That's the ultimate skill, I think, in business is once you can get to a place where you can take the information that you're getting in and actually make a good decision based off of it. And because I was raised to be tough and to persevere and to do everything, that's what I think made me successful. But that's also what caused a lot of the failures, because you see a brick wall, well, you're just going to run through the wall. Well, dude, it's 4 layers thick.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't break down.
I thought it was a single brick. Like, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. And so that's where some of my failures have come in, is not taking in the information and not analyzing it correctly, because I only have one choice, and that's to run through the wall.
Did you ever...
I love that.
Did you ever think... I mean, I know you failed, but did you ever think I'm a failure? Did you ever speak to yourself in that way? Or did you always feel like you were a success from day one and there were going to be ups and downs?
Well, I think driving home from Vegas and getting a flat tire, not having money to pay for the flat tire, it's pretty rough. There's dark times. And, I have to go back to the beginning of the episode where we, talked about Mike a little bit. Dude, that guy's story is incredible, and I relate to that so much, and I have so much respect for him talking about working all night long, right? Like, I would wake up at midnight and do appraisals till 6 or 7 a.m. Like there's a reason why he's successful now, and it's that perseverance that made it what it is.
Yeah. Hopefully he didn't shut it off at the beginning. And you heard
Yeah. Well,
shout out, Mike.
We redeemed you, Mike.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, we got to wrap this episode up. I have so many more questions. I love your story, Brandon. We appreciate you being on the show. We're going to talk about deals next. We're talking about. I want to get into it. I want to get into some other stuff.
There's good deals.
I do have to say before we end this episode, Henry Ford said you can have any color you want as long as it's black.
Yep.
And Brandon showed up this morning in the biggest black Ford truck I've ever seen in my life. And I looked at him and I'm like, do you wash that thing by hand? And he goes, bro, you know what I love about having money? I don't have to wash cars anymore. Somebody comes to my house and washes this truck for me.
Is that true?
So
they do it for free, hopefully, and then I don't have to pay them.
Someday you'll pay.
Yeah.
Anybody out there listening that wants to start a free car washing business, let us know. We got rigs for you to wash.
We got customers.
All right, guys.
Shout out to Brandon for buying Jaron his first bicycle too.
Oh my god!
Just since Jaron listens.
Jaron. All right, guys. We're gonna wrap this one up. We're the Deal Junkies. You're the Deal Junkies. We appreciate you listening. Please share this episode if you liked it, and subscribe to our channels. And we'll see you next time.